I recently released the first version of a SaaS application I vibe coded end to end using natural language. And what I really mean is that I didn't have to write a single line of code. I didn't have to tag myself away in for like 3 months to understand a particular programming language. All I just did was vibe coding in Claude Code. But I need to state is that nobody really tells you what happens behind the scenes when you're vibe coding, right? People make it seem like when you're vibe coding, it's all magical, okay? It's still the fact that you're building, but when you're building something, for sure, there's a lot of friction, right? There are things that happen like rate limits, bad, broken deployments, confusing errors, days where like your brain is practically fried because you've tried everything. So in this video, I really want to share the lessons I learned while building my AI-powered SaaS application called Adesua AI, so that if you're starting your own vibe coding journey, you know what to look out for before you get burned, okay? I don't gatekeep any information, so I'm going to give you all the tea here. Now, let me just create a quick context here, okay? Just quick context. A lot of people don't know, but I work full-time as a product manager. I'm also a LinkedIn learning instructor. I'm a business owner. I'm a mom and a content creator, okay? So a lot of people see that I produce a lot of videos, but the reality is that I have a very busy life. And so when I was building this application, there were weeks where I did not even touch this app at all. Like, I did not even open it because I was just so busy with life in general, right? And then I remember I'll come back to building this application and I'll be like, what was I building again? Okay. But then I was still able to ship this first version pretty quickly. So this goes to tell you that with AI, you're able to do anything. For context, I started building this app in January and we are at the end of February. I'm already done with like the first version. I've already deployed this. I have people using it, people testing it out as well. So I just want to first talk about like what the app is so that you get to know that this is tangible, this is something I've built, and this is something you can build as well. So I'm just going to give you a brief walkthrough of the app I built and see if this is something you'd like to use, okay? So the first version of the app really is a web application. I haven't built the mobile version of this app yet. You can access it on your phone. It would have to be in the browser. To access the application, you just have to go to Adesua AI. The reason why I built this application is because like I've been doing a lot of tutorials on this channel. If you've been following me for a while, I've been doing tutorials on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Like I mentioned, I'm also a LinkedIn learning instructor, so I do have like a lot of courses. But then I do have a lot of people who also message me telling me they're stuck at one step or the other and there's no clear path forward. They're not able to ship anything just because they're stuck, right? And some people don't just watch my tutorials, like you watch other tutorial channels as well. When we create these tutorials, some things are edited out, not intentionally, but sometimes you just want to edit something else because maybe it didn't come out quite right. So maybe if you're like someone watching these tutorials, you may miss out on those steps, right? So because I get like most of these questions thrown at me all the time on LinkedIn and in my emails, I decided to sort of like create this application to basically help you ship your own projects. I mean, it's still good to watch the tutorials and the courses and everything, but then like if you are getting stuck and you realize that you're not able to ship anything, regardless of what you want to build, okay? Let's say you want to build a website, you want to build like an AI chatbot, you want to build AI automations, you've seen those beautiful video projects online and you want to do one for yourself, but you really don't know where to start and you've watched lots of tutorials and you don't have anything to show for it, you can just come to Adesua AI and it'll give you like the step-by-step guidance you need. You'd also get like an AI coach when you get stuck. So for instance, if I come in here, there are a number of projects in here, for instance, right? So if you sign up, you'll be on the free version. You can decide to upgrade to the paid version. I have 3 pricing tiers. So the first tier is obviously free, where you get like access to 3 projects that you can try out. And then the second version is $49 and then the third version is $79, okay? If you sign up for Adesua AI in March, I'm going to upgrade you to the paid version for free, okay? You get like a paid version for free to use for 1 month and try it out and see if you're able to ship something. The good thing about Adesua AI as well is that once you're done building something, you get steps on how you can like deploy this to GitHub and you can share these projects you've built on social media as well, so that if you are looking for a job opportunity, you're trying to build your business or you're trying to build some credibility, you sharing this on social media would also show that like this is someone who can actually build stuff and there's not someone who just knows stuff, okay? Once you sign up and you come into Adesua AI, like I mentioned, if you're on the free version, you get access to like 3 projects for free and then you can try it out by just clicking on like continue building. And what would happen is that you get the list of steps that you need to perform to be able to bring that idea to life. So for instance, if you want to build, let's say, a content engine, like you want to have AI agents that will basically create content, do strategy methodology and everything for you. I do have this project in here, which is part of the free version. So when you come in here, it's broken down into days, like things you have to do every single day. If you want to do everything like in one day as well, that's fine. The good thing about this app is that it also gives you like the number of hours ideally it will take you to complete this. It says 8 hours, but I mean, if you want to do it in 4 hours, no one is going to stop you by just telling you that realistically you need 8 hours to do this. So like in 8 hours, it's going to show you, okay, this is what you have to do day 1, this is what you have to do day 2, this is what you have to do day 3. So by the end of 1 week, you'd basically be able to like ship your product. And what I really like about this app as well is the fact that it's not because I built it, it's just because like I go through these processes all the time. So I was like, okay, let me just put the logic in an application. Okay, it gives you like, as you're building, it's going to give you tips. It also gives you like common errors you should expect, so errors that have been reported. It gives you that ahead of time. It also gives you some helpful resources. Okay, so videos that can help you like gain your knowledge as you are performing each step. And this is what I talked about, like once you're done building this, you can upload it to GitHub and you can also share it on social media. Now let me talk a bit about the AI coach here. Okay, so the AI coach here basically helps you get unstuck. So if you are building something in here and you realize that you are getting errors, you are getting stuck, all you can do is like, you can just basically take a screenshot of the error and then you upload it in here, and then you can even type the error in here as well, and then you hit enter, and the AI coach here has context about the project. Okay, so it knows that this is the project you are building. So if this is the error you're facing, then this is how you have to fix the error. And there's also the ability to sort of like talk with a human expert. So for instance, if you've tried with the AI coach, you still want that one-to-one conversation with an expert, then you can come in here and then book a call with me, and then we can take it from there. Of course, like for my time, I need to get compensated for that. Okay, so let's come back to the dashboard. So now let's say like you go through all these projects in here and you realize that you want to have your own custom project. Maybe you want to build a specific app that isn't showing in the catalog here. You can use this button here to sort of generate the steps for your own projects. Okay, so for instance, I have this project in here that I've been wanting to build, right? So for instance, if you want to build, let's say, an AI agent that listens to trending content on Reddit to sort of uncover pain points that people are facing in their daily lives and processes, so that maybe, let's say you're an entrepreneur, you just want to get business ideas and stuff like that. It's through pain points people express. Okay, so you can basically come in here, paste in what you want to build. You can be as detailed as possible, or you can just keep it to 2 lines. I do recommend that the more details you go into, the better for you. And then you click on next, and then it's basically going to ask you some questions, whether you want to use code or no code to do this. You can say not sure. It's asking, where do you want to publish or finish projects? Again, if you don't know this, you can say not sure. It's asking, how do you want to build what users see and interact with? You can also say not sure, or you can select, like if you already have ideas in your head, you can always select that as well. And then you click on next, and then you can click on generate my project, and this is gonna like work behind the scenes. I like the fact that, well, it gives you like an estimate of the time you need to wait for. It also gives you like some things to like fun facts about tech while you wait, okay, so that you don't feel bored and all that. So this will basically end up like generating all the steps you need to be able to bring your idea to life, and I'll show you. Okay, so as you can see, the steps has been generated. It's given us a 7-day process. It's not always going to be 7 days. It really comes down to the complexity of the project. And like I mentioned, it's giving you all the steps you need. Because I didn't specify whether I wanted code or no code, it's gone ahead and assumed that I'm okay with doing this in Python. So you can really define, like if you don't want to use Python, you don't want to write any code, you can basically define what exactly you want. If you want it to be no code, you can define that as well. But like you can see, it's given some examples of common errors that you might face and helpful resources as well. And if you get stuck, you can always ask AI. And because this AI has context around the projects you are building, it will be able to sort of help you along the way when you get stuck. So this is really it. There's also like events. So for instance, if you are based in Ottawa, like there's N8N meetup, so it lets you know of any upcoming events, whether free or paid. Like I do have like my Vibe Coding Accelerator. So like instead of going through the steps, you want to rather have like a session, like a class, you can basically join my Vibe Coding Accelerator, which is a 6-week program where I'm I'm going to help you and guide you step by step on how you can vibe code applications, similar to my N8 automation lab that I've been running as well. You can also now sign up here as well instead of having to sign up in Notion. So this is really what the app does in a nutshell. It just basically helps you build what matters to you. So whether you're a student, you're a professional, you're a business owner, if you want to build something and you are stuck and you don't know where to start from, this application will basically give you all the steps you need. It's going to guide you and help you. And once you're done, you can also post what you've built on social media so that people can also see what you're doing. And this can basically help you in your professional business, like I already mentioned. Now that I've talked a bit about like what the application is, showing you that I actually built this application end to end. I didn't have to write a single line of code because I did this using Claude Code, and the AI agents inside Claude Code helped me do this. Let me tell you some of the key learnings or exactly what I've learned from this entire process. So realistically, when you're vibe coding, there's the dream you have versus what you actually get in reality. Okay, so when I started vibe coding this AI SaaS application, I had that moment of delusion. So I was like, wait, I can just talk to an AI and then it builds the app. So this is just about to be very quick. I'm going to get this done in 2 hours, because I've seen a lot of ads online saying that, hey, I built this in 2 hours. I did this in 3 hours. I'm not saying those are lies, but I think that if you want to build like a real production app where you can monetize it like this one I have Stripe hooked onto it takes more than that, right? Because what happened was I would ask for something big and it would build it really fast. But if anything broke, it would break in a way that made me feel like I didn't even know what to even ask for next, okay? Because like it would be so hard to debug, right? So that's when I realized that when you have vibe coding, it really rewards clarity and it punishes chaos. So if you just go and you're like, okay, build the entire thing, you're in for like a chaotic ride. So here's the main lesson. So the first lesson is like have a product vision and a PRD. And I must say that I do have a bit of unfair advantage in here because I'm a product manager. So I've been building products for a living. Okay. So always make sure that before you start building something, have a vision for it. And so this is where, like I'm saying, like my unfair advantage of being a product manager helped me a lot, because vibe coding at the end of the day, it doesn't replace product thinking, it only amplifies it. So that was a very good advantage for me. Now, the other unfair advantage I had is the fact that I'm a LinkedIn learning instructor and I'm also a content creator, and specifically I teach people. So I'm in the trenches with beginners and builders every day. I know what people are looking for. So that was an unfair advantage I had as well. Like I explained earlier, people are always in my DMs. They're like, where do I start? What do I build first? I watched 30 tutorials. I still can't figure it out. So I didn't just get up to build an app. I built it around real pain that people were experiencing, right? So it wasn't just about vibes. Like I knew that this was a problem people had. So I decided to build an app to solve that. And so once you understand the problem you're building, it's very easy for you to write a PRD. If you don't want to write it, you can even use AI to do that, okay? It's even a lot more simpler when you start because your AI assistant needs a target. So if you don't define the destination, you basically end up shipping a random application. Now, let me talk about the second lesson. So the second lesson I learned was around milestones, okay? If you are using Claude Code or you're using Codex or you're using Anti-Gravity and you're asking them for help, you need to make sure that you're breaking it into milestones. Break that project into milestones, okay? Do not try to build everything at once, which is why in Adesua AI, I break them into steps and days. Because if you do a big bang build and something breaks, you won't understand anything. You just be staring at the error like, what is this? Like, what changed? Why is the database screaming? Why is this thing breaking here and there? You know, you defining milestones will basically help you keep sane, and they would also help make debugging very possible as well. Now, the third lesson I learned was around defining version 1, like your life depends on it. So when I say version 1 is what we call minimum viable product, your MVP in product management, okay? So make sure you are defining this clearly. Otherwise, you keep building and building, trying to perfect the app without shipping anything, right? And vibe coding does something like you can easily increase scope because you are like, oh, I need to add onboarding. Oh, I need to add payment. Oh, I need to add referrals. Oh, I need to add a marketplace. Oh, I need to add a mobile app. And you realize that suddenly you're building a whole startup in one prompt and you end up not shipping anything. Okay, so it's very important for you to first define what your MVP looks like. What is that version 1 boundary, right? For Adesua AI, my version 1 was that it must do 3 things, okay? It must give structured projects. It must have the ability to coach the user step by step, which is why I have the AI coach there. It must also have the ability to produce real outputs they can show in a portfolio, meaning that they should have the ability to upload whatever they build to GitHub and also share it on social media. So that's it. Like, everything else is later, okay? Even though I have payments integrated in right now, I added the payments once I had gotten a few people to test it out first, okay? Now, the next lesson I learned was like, treat your AI assistant like a junior developer. So here you are vibe coding, you don't have a developer, you don't have a dev team. So you want to use the AI assistant as a junior developer. A junior developer is new on the job. They are fast, they are confident, they are fully capable of doing the wrong thing perfectly as well, because most likely they want to impress, okay? So AI can sort of misunderstand your requirements and still build a whole implementation. So you think progress is happening, but in reality, like, you are drifting, okay? So what changed everything for me was forcing this particular rule. Before you implement anything, I'm just like, show me the plan, okay? What are you going to be doing behind the scenes? And what files will you be changing? What could break? How do we test it, right? So before my assistant goes in and make any changes, it gives me all the steps the files is going to change and everything. So I'm aware that, okay, it's going to change these files, right? The other lesson I learned, or the fifth lesson in here, was like, build your projects like you're going to disappear for 2 weeks. So let me explain, okay? Because at the end of the day, most likely you will. There were stretches where I didn't even touch the app I was building at all, okay? Work, family, life, they were all coming in the way. So I'll take a break and I'll come back and I feel like that dread, like I have no idea what I was doing. Where did I stop, right? At some point, maybe I'm debugging something and then I take a break and then I come back and like I just forget everything. So if you don't take care, like, your project is going to die. So I made it restartable, okay? I have like a README that explains how to run it, a current state note, what's done, what's next, what's broken, so that when I come back, I know that this is exactly where I was, this was broken and everything. And you can have this in a simple Kanban board, right? I also had like a tiny decision log, like why I chose certain tools over the other. And like, know that if you're documenting all these things, it doesn't mean that you're being extra. It just helps protect your own momentum. Now, the other thing as well has to do with rate limits, okay? Lesson 6 is the one that demotivated me several times. I won't even say demotivated, maybe it sort of broke my momentum. That's like rate limits, right? Nobody really talks about this part enough. Like, when you're building something, you're finally logged in, your brain is in like builder mode, you're making progress, the app is moving, you can see it's coming together, and then boom, you hit your rate limit. You know, with cloud code, like, rate limits can reset in 4 hours. Some of them would reset in like, let's say 3 days afterwards, depending on how fast you've gone, right? And now you are forced to wait, sometimes forever, right? Sometimes it's like, come back later and you're already logged in and it's so hard. And that wait is not like a small thing, because vibe coding is all about the flow. You're logged in, you have all these ideas, you're happy about it, and then rate limits can just come in and just kill the entire flow, right? And I had moments like that where I was genuinely in that zone and then I got blocked, and by the time the rate limits reset again, the energy was gone and I was like, I can't even continue this again, because like I'm no longer in that space where like I was so happy building this thing. So here's what I learned. You have to design your build process around the reality, right? You can decide to like upgrade, but there's only so far you can go and hit a rate limit, right? So what really helped me was like, make sure you're batching your acts, right? Don't drip feed one tiny prompt at a time. Collect like 3 to 5 changes and ask for one clean plan. And then, like I talked about earlier, force planning mode first. When your assistant plans first, you waste fewer turns. And then keep a block task list. Again, you can use a Kanban board for this, so that when you hit a limit, you immediately switch to offline tasks like PRD updates, UI tweaks, writing copy, test checklists, backlog grooming, recording a demo, writing onboarding text, and all that. Build earlier but not late night, because nothing is worse than getting rate limited at 1 a.m. when you finally had time. And then now, like, you have to wait another 3 hours, right? So maybe you can wake up like 5 a.m. and start vibe coding. Now, the 7th lesson is the boring stuff turns a demo into a product, okay? Do not skip the boring stuff, even though they don't seem exciting. Vibe coding makes it very easy to get a demo, but demos are not necessarily the product itself, right? Real users will do things a lot more chaotic, okay? If you are testing it, it looks good, but when real users touch it, they'll click things out of order because they don't have the same vision you had for the product, right? And that's what you want, right? Like, real users will refresh mid-step, they'll paste weird inputs, they'll try to speed run your app. So you basically need the basics, and it's good to always get real users to test it. If you're testing it yourself, then you know what to click so that it doesn't break, right? So always have like a simple checklist, even if it's manual. Have things around error logging so that you can actually see what broke. Have things around analytics so that you know what matters. Have things around cost guardrails so that you don't always have to surprise bills, especially if you're building a project that requires AI, like Adesua AI. This is the difference between I build an app and people can actually use it, because once you have that checklist, it makes it a lot more easier. So let me bring everything I've said together, okay? This was the turning points for me. The biggest thing I learned while building Adesua AI is the fact that vibe coding is a multiplier. If you bring in chaos, it's just going to multiply that chaos. If you bring in clarity, like I said, starting with a PLD, starting with a vision for the product, it will multiply your speed. And I believe that the people who win with vibe coding are not the ones with the fanciest prompts. They are really the ones who can define the problem clearly. And if you are creating the PLD, you'll be forced to define what the problem is. You'll be forced to define who your target user is. They're the ones who ship the smallest useful version first so that people can test. They're the ones who build in milestones. They're the ones who validate changes, because every change you make, you want to make sure that you're going to test it, right? They're the ones who keep the project alive through all the interactions and the project momentum from things like rate limits, right? So always keep all of this in mind when you are vibe coding your application or you're starting with your vibe coding journey. So if you're vibe coding right now and you feel stuck, this is what I do recommend you do, okay? And hopefully Adesua AI can help you do that. Pick one tiny thing you want to build, put 1 hour on your calendar this week, and then ask your AI assistant to be your partner and not your lecturer, and let it guide you, okay? And if you want something very structured, you think you can really do it like that on your own, and you want structured projects, you want an AI coach to walk you through this, building the real things that matter to you step by step, then literally this is why I built Adesua AI. So I encourage you to go check it out, sign up for it, try it out. Like I mentioned, if you sign up within the week of March, I'm going to bump your subscription app by 1 tier so that you get to use the AI functionality for free. And then you can provide me some real feedback as well while you're doing that. And you don't have any obligation to upgrade. Okay. So you can go check out Adesua AI. Like I mentioned, is adesua.ai in your web browser. And also you can join my school community. I do have like a vibe coding accelerator. I'm starting in March. So if you're like, Stephanie, I've tried Adesua AI, but I really still want that one-on-one human touch, you can either have like the one-on-one session, or you can join the vibe coding accelerator so that you meet with other people who are also vibe coding as well. All the links to that is going to be in the description box or in the comment section as well. But yeah, as usual, it's really exciting when I come in here and I talk about what I've done and show you like some tutorials and builds. Yeah, thank you if you've watched till this point. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, I'll encourage you to subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.